When she says, I need space, most men hear it and think it's just a moment, just a phase, just something temporary. They assume it means she's overwhelmed, maybe tired, maybe she just needs to breathe. But when a woman who used to find her peace in your presence suddenly finds peace in your absence, that's not just space, that's emotional separation. And most times, by the time those words leave her lips, she's already in the arms, or at least in the thoughts, of someone else. See, women don't withdraw without a reason. They don't ask for distance when they still feel emotionally safe. When she was in love with you, your voice calmed her storms. Your messages were never too much, and your presence was her favorite escape from the world. But now she's quiet, cold, distant. She doesn't smile the same when she looks at you. Her eyes used to light up when you entered the room. Now, she doesn't even flinch, because someone else might already be lighting up that space within her that you used to own. The phrase, I need space, isn't the beginning of something, it's often the end that she hasn't yet found the courage to say out loud. Understand this. When a woman starts to emotionally detach, it begins long before you notice. It starts in the silence between texts, in the slow replies, in the dry okays and yas. It starts when she stops asking about your day, stops talking about her future with you in it. She starts withholding affection not out of anger, but out of emotional realignment. She's no longer building memories with you. She's drifting. You may ask yourself, why didn't I see it sooner? But love, in its most loyal form, is blind. You were too busy loving her to notice the signs, and she knew that. She knew you would keep holding on, even while she was already letting go. By the time she says she needs space, she's already mentally elsewhere, emotionally invested in another connection. She might not have crossed the physical boundary yet, but her loyalty, her vulnerability, her emotional intimacy, those are no longer exclusively yours. She doesn't feel guilty for wanting space because in her mind it feels justified. Maybe she felt unseen, unheard, or neglected for too long. Or maybe, and this is the part that hurts, maybe someone else simply showed her what she was missing. Someone who listened with more intention. Someone who paid attention to the small things, like the way her voice softens when she's nervous, or how she looks away when she's hiding something. Someone who made her feel beautiful again, not just desired. She'll tell you she needs space, but what she's really saying is, I need time to explore this new feeling without the weight of your love on my conscience. And while you're sitting there hoping she just needs time to realign, she's already emotionally rehearsing life without you. You'll catch her being online for hours and never texting you. You'll see her post stories where she's smiling with a glow that you haven't seen in months. You'll hear her laugh in ways she stopped doing around you. And you'll want to believe it's just a phase. But deep down, you'll know that laughter, that glow, it's no longer for you. She won't come right out and say there's someone else. That would make her the villain. Instead, she'll dress her exit in emotional language. I just need to find myself. I don't know what I want anymore. You've done nothing wrong. But your soul will know. Your heart will hear what her lips won't say. Her silence will scream the truth louder than any confession could. And it'll hurt. Not just because she left, but because she started leaving long before you had the chance to fight for her. By the time she says, I need space, she's already imagined another man's filling it when she looks at you with those soft eyes and says, don't wait for me. It may sound like she's trying to spare your feelings, like she's being kind, like she's giving you the freedom to move on. But hear me, that is not mercy. That is a silent goodbye dressed as compassion. Because the truth is, when a woman says, don't wait for me, she's already waiting for someone else. She's not lost, she's not searching, she's just done. Maybe she won't say it directly because she's not ready to be seen as the one who gave up first. So she wraps it in tenderness, in a voice that almost sounds like regret, and sends you off as if it's for your own good. But what she's really saying is, I've already detached. I just need you to let go without making me feel like the bad one. That sentence, don't wait for me, it's one of the most carefully crafted lies love ever tells. Because deep down, you want to believe she's being selfless, that maybe she's doing this to protect you, that maybe, just maybe, she needs time to fix herself, to heal something broken before she can come back to you whole. But no. She's not planning to come back. A woman in love doesn't ask you to stop believing in her. A woman in love doesn't ask you to stop waiting. She asks you to hold on. She asks you to fight with her. She asks you to trust her heart. But when she says not to wait, she's already written you out of her future. You might be holding on to all the beautiful things, the late night conversations, the long hugs, the shared dreams, but she's already started letting go of those moments. She's already begun rewriting her story with a new co-star in mind. And though she may not have told him everything yet, she's building space in her world for someone else's presence to grow. That phrase. It's her way of washing her hands clean of responsibility. She doesn't want to be the one who breaks you, so she gives you the choice. Stay and hurt, or leave and heal. And that way, when you finally walk away, she can say, I told you not to wait. But it was never about you waiting, was it? It was about her not being willing to say the harder truth. I've already found something else. I've already felt something shift. I'm already leaning towards someone new, and I can't keep pretending like you're still the one. That's the sting, not the break itself, but the fact that you weren't worth the full truth. That instead of giving you closure, she gave you confusion. Instead of saying, I'm with someone else now, she said, don't wait. And you stood there, half in love and half in denial, trying to hold on to a woman who had already emotionally packed her bags and walked away. And she'll keep checking in, maybe, sending small messages that say, hope you're okay, or just thinking of you, not because she wants you back, but because guilt is a shadow that lingers even when the love is gone. Those texts aren't love. They're echoes. Remnants, just enough to make sure she doesn't feel like she completely abandoned you. But in her heart, she already has. She's already laughing at jokes that aren't yours, already walking down streets holding a different hand, already building a bond brick by brick while you're standing in the ruins of what used to be. And the cruelest part, you'll remember her promise, the way she used to say, I'll always be yours. You'll remember her eyes, how they used to look at you like you were her world, and now those same eyes are looking at someone else with that same fire, only now it burns you. So when she says, don't wait for me, don't just hear the words, feel the weight behind them. Because she's not asking for time, she's buying distance. Not because she's unsure, but because she's already sure. Sure enough to start living a new chapter, even while you're still rereading the last one. And the truth is, if she meant to come back, she would never ask you to stop believing in the return. When a woman looks you in the eyes and says, you deserve better, it might sound noble, like she's trying to protect you, like she's owning her flaws and stepping aside so you can be happy. But let me be honest with you, those words rarely come from a place of humility. More often they're a confession dressed in a compliment. She's not saying it because she believes you're too good. She's saying it because she knows she has already betrayed the connection in a way she can't come back from. See, a woman in love doesn't push you away with praise. She doesn't use flattery as a weapon. When she truly sees your worth, she wants to rise to meet it, not retreat from it. She wants to grow into the love you give her, not step back and hand you over to someone else. But when she says you deserve better, it usually means this: I've already made a choice and it's not you. Maybe she's not ready to say it outright. Maybe she's not brave enough to admit that there's another man, someone she's been thinking about, texting late at night, maybe even seeing behind your back. But the guilt starts eating away at her, and rather than face the truth and look you in the eye and say, I'm not loyal anymore, she wraps her guilt in selflessness. She paints herself as the problem, so you won't look too closely at what she's hiding. It's not about her feeling unworthy. It's about her needing you to stop looking at her like she's everything, because she knows she's already become something else in someone else's story. Those words, you deserve better, they're not innocent. They're the softest way to start pulling the knife out of your back without making it look like she ever put it there. They're her way of saying, don't blame me for leaving. Blame yourself for being too good. And that's the cruelest kind of manipulation, the kind that convinces you to question your own goodness, just so she doesn't have to explain her betrayal. Because the truth is, When a woman loves you and feels undeserving of your love, she fights harder. She doesn't run, she doesn't sabotage, she steps up. She looks for ways to prove to you and to herself that she's worthy of everything you give. But when she's already leaning into someone else, when she's already emotionally gone, that's when she starts convincing herself that the best thing she can do is let you go. Not because it's best for you, but because it's easier for her. She'll sit there, probably on the edge of the bed where you two once shared late-night secrets, and whisper, "I'm just not what you need." But what she's really saying is, "I'm no longer yours." And she wants you to believe that this breakup is some act of compassion, when really it's an escape hatch. She wants out, and she wants to leave with as little damage to her conscience as possible. So she hands you a lie wrapped in a pretty bow and tells you its truth. And you'll sit there thinking maybe she's right. Maybe you did give too much. Maybe she really does need time to work on herself. Maybe one day she'll come back when she's ready. But that day never comes, because while you're waiting, hoping, wondering what you could have done differently, she's already built a new connection, one that doesn't come with the weight of knowing she broke a good man's heart. You were never too good for her. She was just never ready to match the love you offered. And instead of admitting that, instead of being honest, she covered it with words that sound sweet but are soaked in betrayal. You deserve better. No. What you deserved was honesty, loyalty, a chance to fight together, not a backhanded compliment on her way out the door. So don't romanticize those words. Don't wear them like a badge of pain, thinking they meant something noble. They didn't. They were her escape, not your healing. Her excuse, not your closure. And by the time she says it, by the time those words leave her lips, she's already dreaming in another man's voice. When she looks at you with tear-glittered eyes and says, "You're too good for me," it sounds like a confession. Like she's overwhelmed by the depth of your love. Like she's afraid she can't rise to the standard of the man you are. But listen carefully, because beneath those trembling words is often a truth she's too afraid to say out loud. She's already emotionally given herself to someone else. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking this is about her self-worth, that maybe she's just insecure, that maybe she's scared of hurting you, scared of not being able to love you the way you deserve. And while yes, sometimes people do struggle with feeling unworthy, you have to pay attention to the context, especially when this phrase comes out of nowhere. Especially when things were good, and suddenly she pulls away under the weight of your love. Because what she's doing is not confessing weakness. She's redirecting guilt. She's not saying, "I'm not enough." She's saying, "I've already started detaching, and I need you to let me go without asking too many questions." And what better way to do that than to flatter you with sorrow? When a woman says you're too good for me, you need to understand what she's really trying to hide. She's not confused. She's not lost. She's already started replacing you. Not necessarily physically, not yet, but emotionally she's somewhere else. Her heart is listening to a new voice. Her soul is dancing in a new rhythm. And instead of owning that, she dresses it in a robe of false humility. Because if she tells you the truth, that someone else has awakened a part of her that she thought was dead, she becomes the villain. But if she says you're too good, she becomes the victim of her own inadequacy. It's strategic, it's emotional theater. And most men fall for it. You start comforting her, you start reassuring her, you start telling her, "No, don't say that. You're everything I want." You hold her even tighter, not knowing she's already slipping through your fingers. And as you pour more of yourself into the love, she's quietly withdrawing, using your goodness as the reason she can't stay. Not because you're too much, but because someone else is already making her feel like you're not enough. She knows what she's doing. She knows those words will confuse you. She knows you'll replay them in your mind for weeks, months even, wondering what you did wrong, how being too good could be the reason you lost her. And that's exactly what she wants. Because if you're too busy questioning yourself, you won't question her. You won't notice the late-night phone silence. You won't notice the absence in her eyes when she talks to you. You won't question the way she suddenly guards her phone like it holds her entire life. Because you're stuck thinking the problem is you. that you were too loving, too kind, too present, but the truth is, she wasn't strong enough to admit that your love had stopped being her priority. The worst part is, she probably meant it in a twisted way. You were too good for the version of her that was already falling out of love. Because once a woman starts investing emotionally elsewhere, even the best man can feel like a burden. Not because you changed, but because her loyalty did. And so she says it with a shaky voice and maybe even tears in her eyes. You're too good for me. And what she really means is, you still love me more than I deserve. And I've already started imagining my life with someone who doesn't even know the depths of your heart. That's not humility, that's retreat. That's the slow, silent betrayal masked as virtue. Because if she really thought you were too good, she'd fight harder to keep you. She'd grow into the love you give her. She'd rise. She'd meet you there, even if it scared her. But instead, she uses those words as a final act of emotional cowardice. And by the time she says it, her heart's already moved on, probably to someone who makes her feel things she didn't even realize she was missing, even if it means letting go of a man who would have given her the world. When she says, I'm just confused right now, don't believe that her heart doesn't know what it wants. Don't fall for the illusion that she's stuck between you and some internal storm she can't navigate, because confusion, when it's genuine, is messy but honest. It's loud, it's raw, it comes with questions and fears and pleas for understanding. But when her voice is calm, her eyes avoid yours, and she says those words like she's rehearsed them in her head 100 times, it's not confusion, it's concealment. She's not confused, she's chosen, she's just not ready to say it out loud. That phrase is one of the softest, most deceptive ways to start distancing herself without facing the truth. She doesn't want to confront you with the real reason she's drifting, the reason that likely wears another man's name, another man's cologne, another man's voice in her mind. She doesn't want to be seen as cruel, so she frames her withdrawal as something internal, something about her. But really, it's about him. There's a shift you feel before she even says it. You start to notice she's not really listening when you talk. Her replies come slower, colder. She forgets little things. Not just dates or details, but the small rituals that used to mean everything. She's no longer excited when she sees your name light up her phone. You're still speaking to her, but she's no longer with you. And then she says, I'm just confused. And you pause. You hesitate. You don't want to push. You love her, so you try to be understanding. You think maybe she's going through something she can't explain. Maybe you did something wrong. Maybe she's overwhelmed. But deep down, a part of you knows it's not about confusion. It's about her heart finding rhythm in a new connection. The worst kind of heartbreak is the one that doesn't arrive suddenly, but slowly fades like the final note of a song you never wanted to end. That's what this confusion really is, a quiet exit, a transition. She's emotionally stepping into something new, but physically hasn't left yet. And in that in-between, she uses words that feel like shadows. They say just enough to keep you hopeful, but never enough to give you clarity. And maybe you ask, are you seeing someone else? She'll likely say no, not because it's true, but because it hasn't crossed the line yet. But don't mistake the absence of action for the absence of intention. Emotional cheating often starts with shared laughs, secret texts, and quiet fantasies. By the time she admits to being confused, her heart is already wandering down paths where you don't walk. She won't tell you where she's been emotionally. She'll tell you she needs time. She'll say she doesn't want to hurt you. But the truth is, if she truly didn't want to hurt you, she wouldn't be entertaining someone else in the quiet. She wouldn't be torn between your love and a new curiosity if her heart was still fully yours. And you'll feel it, in her silence, in the absence of the intimacy you once shared. She doesn't touch you the same. She doesn't look at you like you're her home anymore. Her presence is still there, but her soul has already taken a few steps toward the door. And yet, she won't say goodbye. Not yet, because the guilt is still louder than her desire. So she plays the part, just enough to not be the villain. But confusion is a mask, one that people wear when they don't want to admit they've already made up their minds. She's not battling between you and no one. She's battling between you and someone new, someone exciting, someone unfamiliar, someone who hasn't yet seen her flaws or witnessed the depth of the love you gave her. And so she hesitates, not out of uncertainty, but out of fear of how you'll see her when the truth comes out. Because no one wants to admit they were capable of betraying a love that was good, a love that was real. But trust this, when someone loves you and they're truly confused, they cling to you, not distance themselves from you. They hold on. They ask for help. They let you in. They don't shut you out under the disguise of, I just need to figure things out. Because if she's truly confused, you'll feel her wrestling with the truth. But if she's already chosen someone else in her heart, you'll feel her slipping away even while her hand is still in yours. When she finally says, I don't feel the same anymore. It's not a sudden realization. It's not a switch that flipped overnight. It's the end of a long, quiet journey she's been on, one that started while you were still holding her hand, loving her, trying to give her everything. Those words are not born in the moment. They're the final act of a decision she's been slowly making for weeks, maybe months. She's not unsure. She's not searching for answers. She already knows. And chances are, someone else helped her find the clarity. Because a woman doesn't fall out of love without reason. Not the kind of love that was once safe, comforting, and familiar. No, something or someone shifted that. Someone whispered things to her soul that made your voice seem quieter. Someone gave her attention that made your devotion feel ordinary. It didn't start with cheating. It started with a thought, a spark, an emotional connection, and from there she began to drift. You probably noticed it before she said it, the way she stopped laughing at your jokes, the way her eyes no longer searched for yours across a crowded room, how she no longer reached for your hand while walking, or how your silence used to be enough and now even your words can't reach her. You felt her spirit growing colder, and still you held on, thinking it was a phase, thinking it could be fixed. But she was already gone. When a woman says, I don't feel the same anymore, she's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to set herself free from the guilt of pretending. She's been rehearsing those words over and over again in her mind, waiting for the moment she could say them without breaking. And by the time she does, it's because she's already processed the ending. She's grieved it before you even knew it was dying. She probably cried in silence, smiled through the ache, made love to you one last time while her heart was quietly saying goodbye. And now, those words, I don't feel the same, they fall from her lips not as a question, not as a maybe, but as a conclusion. What hurts most is knowing that love didn't die naturally. It didn't decay on its own. It was replaced. Her heart didn't just empty, it refilled itself elsewhere, maybe with someone new, maybe with someone who made her feel alive again, seen again, beautiful again. You were busy being loyal, she was busy being curious. You were planning your future, she was already rewriting her past. And now she stands in front of you saying those quiet, lethal words, I just don't feel it anymore. And no matter how much you beg, cry, or fight, you can't reverse what's already shifted. Because love, once it starts living somewhere else, rarely comes back. You'll ask yourself what you could have done differently. You'll replay moments in your mind, trying to pinpoint where things changed. But the truth is, you didn't fail. You just weren't the one she chose to continue with. Someone else lit a fire inside her that you didn't even know had gone out. And the sad part is she may still care for you. She may still wish you well. She may even still feel a flicker of affection when she sees you hurt. But care isn't love, affection isn't loyalty, and a flicker isn't a flame. You'll be tempted to believe you can reignite it, that maybe if you love her harder, she'll come back. But once a woman admits she doesn't feel the same, she's not handing you a challenge, she's handing you closure. So don't mistake it for an invitation to prove yourself. Don't cling to what's already let go of you, because while you're holding on, hoping for revival, she's already letting someone else take your place in the quiet corners of her life. And it'll hurt. It'll burn in a way you never thought it could, because it's not just about losing her. It's about realizing she was already gone before you had a chance to say goodbye. And by the time she says those words, I don't feel the same anymore, she's not asking for understanding. She's already given her heart to someone else.